All right. I want to continue talking about nutritional and non-nutritional ways to protect ourselves from toxicity, especially the kind of toxicity posed by Fukushima-style radioactivity and metal poisoning, radioactive metal poisoning, toxic minerals in general. We were talking yesterday about non-nutritional ways. I want to talk a little bit about some nutritional ways. Yesterday we mentioned chlorophyll and seaweed and my favorite detox material, non-nutritional detox material, the universal antidote, activated charcoal. I keep a bunch of powdered activated charcoal at home and in my pharmacy, and I have found it to be quite effective for treating the symptoms of food poisoning especially. But as we said yesterday, there's all kinds of applications for this very interesting and very beneficial substance. A couple other important non-nutritional detox materials that can be used before we get into some of the more nutritional materials. One is the herb cilantro, which is also known as Chinese parsley. Cilantro is basically the leaves that grow on the coriander plant, and it has a long history. Remnants of the cilantro leaves have actually been found on pottery that dates back over 12,000 years. The Bible talks about cilantro and coriander. In Exodus, it mentions manna as being white as coriander seed. Exodus, I don't remember. I think it was Exodus 16, talks about manna and coriander, cilantro and coriander. They call manna white as coriander seeds. The cilantro leaves are powerfully antioxidant. They have antibacterial properties. You can make a nice breath freshener with them if you add a little peppermint oil and chew on the leaves. They have antimicrobial effects. They've been shown to work on salmonella. Coriander or cilantro tea has a relaxant property. You can use it to treat anxiety or to help you sleep if you have insomnia. It's been used as a post-meal digestive aid, and it can help your body process sugar if you had an especially sweet dessert or desserts. Cilantro tea can be helpful for lowering blood sugar, postprandial, post-meal blood sugar. And cilantro can also help promote biosynthesis if you're one of the millions of Americans dealing with fat malabsorption issues. So cilantro/coriander has got lots of interesting properties and uses, but in my opinion, by far the most important and the most relevant for our topic today is the affinity that cilantro has for mercury. It's been shown to accelerate the removal of mercury from your internal organs. So if you have mercury fillings, or if you're thinking about having a mercury filling procedure done that can leak mercury into your body, it might be a good idea to get yourself on some cilantro, make a daily tea with it to keep any of the toxic metal from settling into your internal organs. It's probably a good idea for everybody, as a matter of fact, to use cilantro tea, if not on a daily basis, at least on a semi-regular basis, once or twice a week. And cilantro, by the way, is not just helpful for mercury poisoning either. Cilantro has been shown to decrease lead absorption. It's been shown to diminish the effects of lead on the kidneys in experimental animals. I'm not sure anyone has really figured out the mechanism of cilantro's protective effects, although it may have something to do with the nutrients that are found in the leaves. There's B vitamins in the leaves, riboflavin and thiamine, vitamin B1 and B2. It's got vitamin C, calcium, potassium, iron, magnesium. There's chlorophyll in the cilantro. That may contribute to the chelating or sequestering effects that it has on heavy metals. Even if you're not interested in detoxification, drinking cilantro tea on a regular basis or using cilantro in chili or in pesto may be able to give you some nice general anti-aging benefits. Another non-nutritional detox substance that you might want to think about is zeolite, Z-E-O-L-I-T-E. Zeolite is kind of like clay in the sense that it has lots of microscopic spaces like activated charcoal. Also, it has lots of microscopic little pores that give it an enormous surface area. And these tiny little spaces are like cages that trap substances. And in combination with the electrical nature of zeolite, these little cages have a kind of act like microscopic magnets. Zeolite is formed when molten metal from the Earth's mantle, magma, if you will, combines with salt water from the ocean. When the two hit, a sheet-like structure is formed, and this sheet-like structure, zeolite, is composed of all these tiny little cages that have a negative charge. Many heavy metals like mercury and cadmium and aluminum and bromine, fluorine have positive charges, and these magnetic cages can effectively trap substances and direct them out of the body. Viruses and other toxins that have a positive charge are also susceptible to detoxification by zeolite. If you're one of those folks that gets cold sores, you may want to consider regular supplementation with zeolite. If you're eating lots of hot dogs and cold cuts and other preserved meats, you might want to consider using zeolites to protect yourself from the nitrates and the nitrites that are used as preservatives and have been associated with cancers. Zeolite has been shown to promote the excretion of some of the nasty reactants that are associated with chemical preservatives and the chemical preservative reaction with the body. And as if this wasn't enough benefits, zeolite is also a great source of silicon, which is one of the most underrated of all mineral nutrients. Silicon is incredibly important for connective tissue like collagen, and it's a great supplement if you're concerned about photo damage or photo aging or any kind of skin health. There was a study that was published in 2005 in the Archives of Dermatology that found that supplemental silicon resulted in, quote, a significant positive effect on skin surface and skin mechanical properties and on brittleness of hair and nails, unquote. Zeolite can absorb odors, formaldehyde, and there's a couple other things I'll tell you about zeolite here before we get into some nutritional strategies for detoxification. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You are listening to The Bright Side. Our number is 866-582-9933 if you want to get on board. We're coming back with more good health information right after this. Don't go away. All right, we're talking about nutritional and non-nutritional strategies for detoxification. This is all in response to the letters that I've been getting about heavy metals and minerals. We spent a good deal of time yesterday talking about the difference between toxic minerals and regular minerals and radioactive minerals. And if you missed that program, you may want to check out the archive page at brightsideben.com. There's lots of nutritional and non-nutritional strategies if you are concerned about heavy metal poisoning or if you're concerned about radioactivity and toxicity. We talked about seaweed. We've been talking about zeolite today. Zeolite is kind of like clay and kind of like activated charcoal in the sense that it's made up of lots of tiny little pores. An active or toxic material can sit in those little tiny pores, and then zeolite can accelerate the removal of that toxin out of the body. Zeolite is not just good for toxins, it can also adsorb actually bad odors and formaldehyde. It is insoluble in your digested juices and bile, so after it's done its work of attracting toxins, it passes right through the body, and this makes zeolite completely non-toxic and safe in pretty much any dose. There's lots of different chemical structures in the zeolite family. The most common one that you're going to hear about, the most well-researched one, is something called clinoptilolite, and that's spelled CLINOPTILOLITE, clinoptilolite. One of the neatest things about zeolites is their ability to trap heat, and I actually use zeolite in skincare formulations where it acts as a great heat-releasing substance. The same cages that trap molecules can also trap heat, and if you make a skincare product without water and you put zeolite in there, as soon as somebody adds water to whatever you're making, boom, you get this quick burst of heat. If you've ever heard of Biore cleaning strips, they advertise themselves as being deep cleaning, but it's not really a deep cleaning strip. But when you put your Biore product on, I think it's the strips. I'm not sure if it's the strips or some other kind of Biore topical preparation. But in any case, when you put your Biore on and then you add water, you get this zap of heat. And basically what you're getting is a zeolite reaction. If you look at the ingredients, you'll see zeolite right on the ingredient deck. The zeolite comes in tablets, it comes in liquids. Make sure you're drinking lots of fluids with your zeolite, but other than that, there is pretty much nothing you have to concern yourself with in the way of side effects or untoward effects. There's lots more non-nutritional strategies for detox. You can use apple pectin, which ties up heavy metals and speeds up elimination. You can use sodium alginate, which is an extract that comes from algae, which we talked about yesterday. Algae being a kind of seaweed-like substance that grows in the ocean. Sodium alginate can speed up the elimination and prevent the uptake of heavy metals and other toxins. There's lots of non-nutritional strategies, but I want to move on and start talking about nutritional strategies for detoxification. I think what sometimes gets missed in this hysteria about heavy metals and radiation and pollution and toxicity, I think what sometimes we forget about is the fact that the human body comes complete with an unbelievably effective detoxification system. This detoxification system is primarily based in the liver, but really it exists in every one of the 100 trillion cells of your body. Every one of the 100 trillion cells in your body comes equipped with its own detoxification system. Your detoxification system is like your body's janitorial service. It mops up toxins so they can't mess up a cell's machinery. And the detox system is composed of two compartments. They're called two phases: phase 1 detoxification and phase 2 detoxification. We really didn't know too much about this internal detoxification system until the 1970s or so, when they started to do a lot of research on cells and on cell chemistry. Once toxins get into the body, once they get into cells, really, biochemical reactions are initiated that begin to transform that poison, to begin to transform that toxin into a form that is less injurious, less deadly to a cell. The beginning process, the first compartment, the first phase, if you will, called phase 1 detoxification, is designed to remove the immediate threat. The immediate threat posed by toxins. That's called phase 1 detoxification. Sometimes all you need is phase 1 detoxification, but the real role of phase 1 detoxification is to prepare a poison for its final processing in phase 2 detoxification. Phase 1 works by changing the electronics, the electrical nature of a poison. And as I said, sometimes that's all the detox a substance needs. Changing the electrical nature of this substance makes the substance more water soluble. Most toxins are toxic because they're fat soluble. Water soluble toxins are not as critical in the body because you can just urinate them out. They don't sit in tissues. On the other hand, the real problem with toxicity is fat solubility. If you want to review this whole distinction between water-soluble and fat-soluble, we spent a couple of days last week talking about that. You may want to check out the archive page at brightsideben.com. Poisons and toxins tend to sit in the fatty compartment of the body, and phase 1 detoxification works by changing the electrical nature of a poison and making it more water-soluble, making it easier for the body to excrete it. One of the most important of the detoxifying substances, of the phase 1 detoxifying substances, is a enzyme system, really a family of enzymes, about 60 or so enzymes, called cytochrome P450. I love that name, cytochrome P450. Cyto means cell, chrome means color, and the name cytochrome refers to a colored cell, and that has to do with the fact that these cells under an electron microscope have a certain tint to them. Cytochrome P450 is the name of the family of substances, and what you want to remember about this phase 1 detoxifying substance is that many pharmaceutical drugs will overload the phase 1 system. Cytochrome P450 is involved in detoxifying all substances, and drugs are included. In other words, the drugs we're taking have to be processed by phase 1 detoxification in exactly the same fashion as any poison. And that's why I say drugs are poisons. I'm not being metaphorical. I'm not being allegorical. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating when I say drugs are poisons. They're literally transformed. They're literally processed by the body's poison control center. If you're on a lot of prescription drugs, if you're one of those folks that's taking 4 or 5 or 10 or even 20 prescription drugs, you are running a serious risk of overloading your phase 1 detoxification system. And even though the body's going to upregulate to a certain extent, it's going to increase its phase 1 detoxifying enzymes, it's going to make more cytochrome P450, it's probably not the best idea to overload your detoxification machinery, to give your detox machinery any more work than is absolutely necessary. If you need a drug, use it. But if you're taking a drug on a chronic basis instead of figuring out why you have inflammation or insulin issues or digestive issues or whatever, you are not doing your body any favors, and you're running a much higher risk for being toxic from other substances further on down the road. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You are listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back with your phone calls at 866-582-9933 right after this. Don't go away. All right, we're back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. You guys hear about the SLICE Act, the School Lunch Improvement for Children's Education? Apparently, pizza, according to Congress anyway, is not a vegetable. And now, according to the SLICE Act, the School Lunch Improvements for Children's Education Act, your children can be guaranteed real vegetables and not tomato paste as a vegetable in school. I'm glad Congress is doing something, I guess. All right. Our number is 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. There's so much more I want to talk about here with nutrients for the detoxification system. I want to tell you about the cheapest, easiest way to detox, a nutritional supplement for detox. This stuff is ridiculously cheap, and for some reason or another, we just don't appreciate how powerful this substance is. Even though we all know about it, even though we all heard about it, we don't appreciate how powerful it is, not just for detoxification, but for anti-aging, for cardiovascular health, for the immune system, for skin health. You can use this stuff topically, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to get to it today, but I don't think I'm going to get a chance to do that because I do want to finish up on phase 2 detoxification and oh gosh, there's so much to talk about. I think we'll continue this discussion on our next program tomorrow, so you're going to want to listen in. Let's go right to our phones. Our number is 866-582-9933. What is up, Mark in Canada?
Hi, Ben.
Greetings.
I wish to thank you for all the work you do and for all the information you provide.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My daughter has cat allergies, and my father has seasonal hay fever allergies. Are these nutritional issues?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, they're not strictly nutritional issues, but there's a concept called environmental load, and you can think of it like the straw that breaks the camel's back. We're talking about the detoxification system, for example, and there's a certain amount of toxins and allergens and immune activators that the body can handle, and then you get one more trigger, and then the body can't handle it, and the camel's back breaks, and that's when you get your allergic symptoms. So it's conceivable that by correcting a load problem, by eliminating the influx of other toxicity, other toxins, other allergens, other immune activators into the body, you can strengthen the immune system and strengthen its ability to process allergens so that you can deal with cats and you can deal with pollen and seasonal allergies. So here's what you want to do if you're dealing with that kind of stuff. First of all, as always, check your digestive system. If you're noticing any digestive symptoms, if you have any food allergies, if you have any food intolerances, those are things that you want to correct because those can contribute to the environmental load. Those can contribute to the stuff that you're putting on the camel's back, so to speak. Is that a good analogy? Do you know what I'm saying, Mark? It's okay, good. So you can handle a certain amount, and then some pollen will come into the area, or some cat dander, or something like that, and then you'll go into an allergic response. So eliminating other triggers can help the body process cat dander or pollen or whatever kind of allergen you're dealing with. So that's one thing. Focus on digestive wellness. Use probiotics. Eliminate problem foods. This is especially important if you notice or you know that your daughter or your father has digestive issues. That's almost a sure guarantee, if they already have digestive problems, that you can improve their immune system, immune response by eliminating certain foods and doing digestive strategies, using digestive strategies. The second thing you can do is you can use nutritional supplements to support the immune system, and of the nutritional supplements that support the immune system, nothing is more powerful than vitamin C. And I'd be using, if I had allergies, I'd be using vitamin C 5, 10, 15 grams even on a daily basis. Make sure you take your vitamin C in divided doses. We haven't talked about bioflavonoids a lot on this program, but bioflavonoids are really interesting compounds that are found in fruits and vegetables, and their role in nature, or their role in nutrition, I should say, is to help vitamin C work, to make vitamin C more available. And if you take your vitamin C with bioflavonoids, you're going to get a better vitamin C response. Some people have heard of something called quercetin that has been in the news lately, Quercetin, quercetin. This is an example of a bioflavonoid. You may want to get yourself, you can buy bioflavonoid capsules, 500 milligram bioflavonoid capsules. Take bioflavonoid capsules with vitamin C. You can take vitamin C with vegetables, which contain bioflavonoids. All vegetables contain bioflavonoids. There's hundreds of these compounds. So if you're going to use powdered ascorbic acid, take a teaspoonful, put it in water, drink it down, and munch down on a bell pepper or a pear or an apple or an onion or whatever kind of whatever kind of vegetable you like. Make sure it's a sweet onion because you might not like the taste of a not sweet onion. But onions are a great source of quercetin and a great source of bioflavonoids. Using bioflavonoids with your vitamin C will help the vitamin C work, is the point I'm trying to make. Vitamin E can also be helpful for the immune system and for allergies. You may want to think about a 400 international units of vitamin E. When you're taking your vitamin E, look for mixed tocopherols, M-I-X-E-D, mixed tocopherols. Mixed tocopherols are all four of the main forms of vitamin E. Most vitamin E is just the one form, the most important form, which is alpha tocopherol, but there's three other forms. And if you take mixed tocopherols, you'll get all four forms of vitamin E. So vitamin E, vitamin C, bioflavonoids. If there's any digestive issues, correct those. And by all means, get yourself on probiotics. They are spectacularly important, not just for the digestive system, but also for the immune system. If you're dealing with any kind of immune problem, that should be a red flag alert for you that you want to be taking 80 billion units a day of a probiotic supplement, and always look for multiple strains. I guarantee you we will be talking about probiotics here in the coming days because these things are so important and we're learning a lot more about them almost on a daily basis. All right, thanks so much for calling. Appreciate it, Mark in Canada. Got a couple lines open for you at 866-582-9933. Chela in Texas, what's up?
Hi, Ben.
Hey.
I just want to thank you so very much for everything you do. You really making me take a little more control of my own health.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
By the way, you know what Chela means? Do you know the name Chela? It means in Sanskrit. Did you know it has a Chela is a Sanskrit term for disciple? I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, really? No,
Yep.
I didn't.
There you go.
Never heard.
All right.
Okay, so my question is, I am diabetic too. I take Metformin, and so I recently started taking, the BTP, the EFAs, the OsteoFX, Sweeties, de-stress, on down the line.
Okay.
I'm taking a lot of your recommendations. My question, though, is, does Metformin work in the digestive system? And if so, how is it affecting the absorption of these other nutrients?
Do you mean does it work on the digestive system, is what you're saying?
Yeah, my understanding was that Metformin worked somehow in your digestive system to stop the absorption or the making of the glucose or the absorption of the glucose.
That's not, where did you hear that? That's not quite right. It doesn't really work with the digestive system, but that's interesting that you said that. Where did you hear that?
Well, I read it somewhere about it working inside working in your actual intestines.
It might have an effect on the intestines, but it's not a digestive drug. It works more on the insulin response. The intestines and actually bacteria in the intestines have a large impact on how well your body processes sugar and how much insulin is required to process that sugar. But metformin is an insulin drug. It works with the insulin system, not with the digestive system. And it's a really interesting, it's actually got an interesting mechanism of action. And it's got, it's an effective drug, I will say that, but because it forces your body to process insulin in a way that it would rather not, it does have some side effects that you may want to know about. Why don't you hang tight, Chela? We'll finish this up when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. 866-582-9933 is our number if you want to get on board. We'll be back with more good health information right after this break. All right, we got a couple lines open at 866-582-9933. We're in Texas talking to Chela. Hello, Chela. You still there?
I am.
Hey, Chela. Okay, so metformin is a kind of interesting anti-diabetic drug. It's one of the safer anti-diabetic drugs, I suppose you could say, but I'm not a big believer in using medication, as I'm sure you know, for treating diabetes. Its main mechanism of action is to keep your liver from making sugar, which is probably not a great idea. Your body wants to make sugar when it wants to make sugar, and taking a drug to tell your liver not to make sugar is not the best idea, and that accounts for some of the side effects of metformin. I think its two main effects are to decrease the production of sugar by the liver, and also to improve insulin sensitivity. I think you said that you were talking about stomach or digestive system effects, and I think what you're talking about is the fact that metformin can decrease the body's ability to absorb sugar from the digestive tract. Is that what you were talking about?
Yes, that's probably what I read one time.
Okay. That does happen. It's not. It decreases the body's ability to absorb sugar from foods and such into the blood through the digestive system. but its main mechanism of action it involves insulin sensitivity and involves the liver's production of sugar. It'll also increase fat burning too. We've talked about how you want to be a fat burner versus a sugar burner, metformin will make your body more prone towards burning fat as opposed to sugar. So that's a nice benefit of using metformin. One of the most important side effects of metformin, though, is diarrhea, which is not a good thing, and that can compromise your ability to absorb nutrients. So if you're taking metformin, you may want to get yourself on some BTT or some other easy-to-absorb nutrients, because your body's ability to absorb nutrition may be compromised when you're taking metformin, and also means that you might want to make sure that you're on a good nutritional supplement program in general, especially minerals, because when you have loose stools and diarrhea, that can decrease your body's ability to absorb minerals. So get yourself on a good mineral supplement. You know what? Get yourself on all the sugar metabolizing supplements, and you may not even need your metformin. The B complex is very important for sugar metabolism. Vitamin B1, thiamine is very important. B12 can be helpful. Certainly chromium and vanadium and magnesium and zinc are real important for sugar absorption. And let's see what else. Taurine can be helpful for sugar absorption too. The amino acid taurine, the amino acid arginine might be helpful also. Lots of good nutritional supplements you could take to improve your body's ability to handle sugar. Okay, anything else there, Chela?
Yeah, I've been listening to all of that, and I have been taking that. How long does it take for that to work, typically?
Right away. Right away. Absolutely. You should notice that your blood sugar drops within days once you start a nutritional supplement program. The body wants to handle sugar, and if you help it just even a little bit, you'll start to notice results almost right away. If you're not noticing results right away, then you're doing something wrong, and that might be something that you want to consider. Another thing that we don't talk about a lot in the way of sugar metabolism and insulin response is probiotics. Good bacteria. More and more we're seeing that diabetes is related to digestive impairment. Now, I've talked about this on the bright side for a long time, but now researchers are starting to recognize that first comes digestive impairment, first comes problems with the intestine and bacteria that live in the intestine, and then comes diabetes. So working on the digestive system is always primal, and that's my opinion. That's the way that's what I've noticed here in my practice. But now researchers and physicians and medical professionals are starting to notice the same thing. So if you're not getting the results that you want from using the B complex, from using chromium, vanadium, the sweeties, from using the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, magnesium and zinc and taurine and arginine and all these other supplements, you may want to check your digestive system. You may want to look at something like probiotics. You may want to look at digestive impairment, food intolerances, that sort of thing. And also you may want to look at upping your dose on chromium and vanadium and the B complex. The neat thing about the B complex in particular is its non-toxicity. And that means that you can take as much as you want, and the more you take, the better off you're going to be. Your body will just dump out what it doesn't need. So saturate your tissues with the B complex. Okay. And vitamin C also. Vitamin C also can help with sugar metabolism too. That's another one. I'm sorry, what were you saying, ma'am?
I was going to ask you one last question. If you are, quote, somewhat forced to take a statin drug, because I'm finding now. No, I know you're.
How does that work? How does that work? Somewhat forced. I don't know what you mean.
Well, I have gotten a notification that I did not renew a prescription, and I asked the doctor if they are going to track that now, and he said that recently they are getting notifications of, quote, non-compliant patients.
Oh, what's the penalty for What's the penalty for non-compliance?
And I don't know, but my concern is, one, do I lose my insurance? And said he didn't know that, but he said we have just recently gotten notifications about non-compliant patients, and he said, I don't know if your insurance premium will go up or if you will be dropped, because now I'm already a health risk.
That's interesting. Will if you find that out, would you send me an email, shoot me an email, or give us a call? I'd like to know if that's the case. That would be very interesting to me, if they are actually going to sort of force you to take medication under penalty of raising your insurance premiums. That would be something I would be interested in hearing about. If you find that is the case, let us know. Okay, Chela?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for calling. All right, moving on. Griffin in New York. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Ben. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
Big fan. Every day. I just had a general question about nutritional supplements with asthma or any kind of bronchitis.
Asthma's super easy, man. Asthma's a classic immune reaction. And anytime you have an immune reaction, the first thing you do is you check on immune triggers, there's only 3 places immune triggers can come from. Respiratory, you can breathe them in, through the skin, or through the digestive system. Now, in the case of asthma, the possibility exists that you're breathing something that's triggering the asthma. Assuming that's not the case, if it is the case, don't breathe that stuff. That's the only way you can avoid that. But assuming that's not the case, more often than not, you're going to find milk allergies or grain allergies or some kind of allergen that's getting in through the digestive system, especially for kids. I cannot tell you how often I've seen asthma in association with eczema or in association with other allergic responses or digestive issues. So please understand the link between digestive triggers and asthma. It is the easiest way to reduce asthmatic attacks and asthmatic symptoms. And please understand the toxicity associated with those inhaled steroids. They are nasty, 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 especially for children. Steroids are a great way to keep your kid from growing. Also, they're a great way to keep your kid's immune system suppressed. So avoid steroids. Look for digestive triggers. Secondly, there's great nutritional supplements for taking care of asthma. Vitamin E is unbelievably helpful for treating asthma. So is magnesium. Both vitamin E and magnesium are must-haves for your asthmatic patient. Vitamin C can be helpful for your asthmatic patient. We talked yesterday. Actually, we didn't talk yesterday. I was going to talk about it today. About N-acetylcysteine. I've talked a lot about NAC, N-acetylcysteine. It could be very helpful for the lungs. If you're a smoker, use N-acetylcysteine. If you have any kind of COPD or any kind of lung issue, use N-acetylcysteine. For asthma, though, NAC, 500 milligrams a day can be helpful, in addition to vitamin C, vitamin E, magnesium, and maybe even coenzyme Q10, 100 to 150 milligrams. Coenzyme Q10 and vitamin E work together. And by the way, selenium also works there, too. So 400 micrograms of selenium might be something that you want to think about. 400 international units a day of vitamin E, 150 milligrams of oil-soluble coenzyme Q10, 1,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C. Look for digestive triggers. Get yourself on probiotics. Anytime there's a digestive component, whether you're talking about allergies or you're talking about immunity or you're talking about just plain digestive problems or you're talking about diabetes, anytime you have a digestive component, people, think probiotics. 80 billion units a day, multiple strains. Don't worry about spending too much money on your probiotics. Don't skimp on your probiotics. They may cost you $40 or $50 a month. It is worth it. All nutritional supplementation is worth it. It's a lot cheaper to supplement now than it is to deal with the medical model later, and you're going to feel better as well. If you're interested in checking out the longevity supplements, which I take and which I recommend, please go to my website, brightsideben.com. We got a shopping cart up there with everything you hear us talk about on the program, including the BTT, or you can click on the Join Now link on the upper left-hand corner of the page at brightsideben.com. For a one-time $10 fee, you can get your products wholesale and start yourself a little business if you so desire. Thank you so much for joining us on The Bright Side, friends. It's been wonderful. Once again, we'll be back at you tomorrow. Stay tuned for Alex Jones next on most of these stations. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later, folks.